start with, we go with database checkpoint. Before I start database checkpoint, the prerequisite for the database checkpoint is we should know which is the database that we need to manage. We need to know how have we established a connection of the database to our QTP machine. Connections can be established through ODBC connection. It is available under administrative tools, Microsoft ODBC connector, or you can do it through QTP as well when we are creating a session for connection string. These two knowledge is important how to do that. For connection to the database, for the respective database, you should have a driver installed. That driver enables you to pass the information from QTP to the database and from database to QTP. It's a bidirectional information transfer agent. Once you have that, then you can manage database checkpoint as well. In database checkpoint, there are two types of checkpoint. One is default checkpoint, that means comparing two database. I compare two tables and then I manage the script. That is one checkpoint, that is we call it as a default checkpoint. The second checkpoint is runtime checkpoint. Runtime checkpoint means database checkpoint. We have two possibilities. One, table comparison. Two, runtime checkpoint. Runtime checkpoint means come or check the table for the runtime value. Whether I created an order, check whether that order is physically created or not in the DB in that way. Table comparison, comparing old table versus new table. So these two are available as a part of database checkpoint. Let us now go with database checkpoint. I came back to QTP. I am now going with table comparison. Let us to start with, what I mean by table comparison is I released a build, working build in say January, and that build is used by client and client started updating information into the data as well. It is a live build. In March, I'm trying to upload another version of the build where the database also changed. When I want to migrate, I will do patchwork which converts from old DB to new DB, all the data's conversion that is done. I need to check whether all the datas in the old DB are intact with the new DB. Is the length, content length, etc. is it same as it in the old DB? I need to do that comparison is what table comparison is all about. We did it with the XML in a previous session. Now we are doing it with table, database table. This is about database checkpoint. To do that, first is from old DB, I am supposed to retrieve, it is a table by table checkpoint. I need to retrieve which table, I need to know which table I need to connect and retrieve the data, and what is the table that I want to check in the new table. Both I need to know. So insert checkpoint. I am now creating an expected result through old DB. That is the one which I want to compare it with my new DB. So assume that I am going to create a checkpoint, that is creating the expected result. To create an expected result, I am going through wizard. I click on specify SQL statement manually. I need all data from that table, and first I need to map the connection string to QTP. I can use through this create. I already have assumed that online QTP is the new DB. QTP QT underscore flight 32 is the old DB. Assume in that way. So I am now selecting QT underscore flight 32. This is my old DB. From this DB, I am now selecting the data. Select star from orders. I want to retrieve all the data from this SQL, from this table. It is table by table. You have to do it table by table, get the information. I say finish. I am not here worried about the structure. I am worried about what data I have in my old DB. Is it same in my new DB? You can see that all the records are being populated. It is now checked with the blue color mark. If I want one of the column to be unchecked, select the column. Right hand side you can see remove from the check. I can do that. If I want to check it, I can add to check. All blue color checked one is candidates that will be compared. Below you can see expected data, settings, cell identification. More on this we'll see during runtime database checkpoint. Currently we leave it as default. I am now creating expected result from old DB. I say OK. Once I did that, you can see now right hand side. Just a second. I'll increase the font. Yeah. Now, once I did that, the right hand side portion is my expected result. This has information about what I need to compare. This is the expected result created for the entire DB, all columns in the DB, because I have not chosen any column. Left hand side is my actual. You might have noticed this in our XML checkpoint. In left hand side, it asks me what is the query that I want to use to compare. What is my connection string? Now I need this connection string to be changed to my new DB. New DB, I should know what is the name of the DB. I think it is online QTP. I remove the entire content from here till end. I blocked it, I removed it. Now DSN is my information. So DSN online QTP, I think underscore QTP. I need to check before I run the script. I go to ODBC, control panel, administrative tools. Under administrative tools, I have ODBC connector. The name of the session has to match. So I'm not sure how I created before. So I'm just opening the ODBC. It's not opening. My So now, once we created it, the right hand side portion is my actual expected result. Left hand side portion is the DB from which I need to connect. In this connection string is what we need to change. In this connection string, I block it and delete it. I'll say now online QTP. I initially put it like this. Now I know it is online QTP. So I make this DSN. This is sufficient. I say OK now. Once I do this, if I run now, I have my actual query done on this objects. One is DSN online QTP is my table name or DB name. Under that, source is my query. This is selecting start from orders. From this table, it selects all the records. These records are stored into a session called DB table. It is an object class. In this class, all this information are stored after run, during run, and that information is now compared with the right hand side portion, that is my checkpoint properties. Under checkpoint properties, if you see, all my expected results are there, and I compare now this versus actual. What you need to imagine is the left hand side portion DB table. When I execute the script, he creates that select star from orders from the designed table online QTP. From that database, he fetches that information of collection of orders into a class DB table class. He keeps it there, that he compares it with the right hand side portion. This portion you need to imagine, then understanding becomes easier. So he compares now. I am forcing a failure now because we want something to fail. I am changing my expected result to extra. I am adding some extra value to the expected result to fourth column, so that when I compare with actual, in actual this data is not going to be same. He fails. Just to bring the failure, I am changing the content of a customer name. I am choosing any data I can choose from the expected. I am changing it using constant. I am changing the expected data. This is to understand how database checkpoint works. I now run the script. It runs in no time. He runs it. He completed the run. After completion, I go to automation, last run results. Under last run results, you might see that there is a cross mark. Cross mark indicates that it has failed. Where it has failed? DB table it has failed. That is the object. When I click on checkpoint DB table now, you can see below right hand side captured data. You can see that he has failed under customer name. When I double click on that customer name, you will see a expected result. What is expected and what is actual. Since there is a difference between an expected and actual, he has failed. And total records he has compared, it is available in the top. He has checked 1344 cells. Out of that, 1343 succeeded and it has failed 1. So this is how he compares column by column, value by value. Based on the selection you have made in the checkpoint, the columns that are entitled for comparison is marked with the check in under checkpoint properties. Under checkpoint properties, all that is checked are now compared. This is how he has done now table to table checkpoint. Second, we are moving on to runtime checkpoint. Runtime checkpoint is very important